person is claiming that there's justification or that there's a reason to defend themselves, in many respects, these are the types of cases that have to be determined by 12 tried and true. And so what I respect is the process that we went through. You heard the words of Judge Drummond, in which he said, we got to see the process. You're not going to witness that in hardly any other countries in this world, but in this country, we have that opportunity. So the true reality is, we all know it was a difficult case. We know it impacts our community, and yet here we are. We are moving forward. Tomorrow, I'm going to get up and I'm going to continue to prosecute cases just like I did the day before. Police officers are going to continue to try and protect our community. Victims are going to continue to be victimized, whether it's a person or a business or just society in general. You know, we filed 7,000 felonies last year and over 7,000 misdemeanors, and every one of them has a different kind of victim, and we're just going to continue to move forward. Law enforcement's going to have to work arm in arm with us because that's the business that we do. I'm proud of the system. I'm proud of this jury that they at least made a decision based upon what they saw, all the evidence, and they applied the law to the evidence, and we have to live with that judgment.
What did you tell the Crutcher family?
The same thing that I told you. The same thing. I mean, I know there's a lot of pain with that family, but you know, this is my observation from the day. When I'm in a courtroom and I'm seeing Betty Shelby bow her head and pray, and I look over across the courtroom and I see the Crutcher's family bowing their head and praying, you know, really what I've learned from this entire experience is this community is a community that believes in God, and they place their trust in God, and I hope that they will continue to place their trust in God. We all need to pray for wisdom from our leaders. We need to pray for the protection of our public servants, and we need to pray for the opportunity to mend the fences that have been broken.
Steve, it's been very rare that I've sat in a courtroom and seen jurors so visibly shaken. More than 3 jurors were crying as everybody was leaving the courtroom tonight, just sitting. Some would not make eye contact with Betty Shelby or with the Crutcher family. Some were turning their heads in the other direction. Were you surprised by that at all?
No, just consider that awesome responsibility. You know, I had to make a decision, and I'm going to live with that decision the rest of my life. I had to charge somebody who was a member of the law enforcement community, and I knew what could be the consequences for that. But this is the type of case that had to be tried by a jury. And so the burden really got shifted ultimately to a jury. We went through a preliminary hearing, we went through district court arraignment, we survived all the procedural issues that any case has to get to, and we turned it over to a jury who deliberated well over 8 hours. You know that jury worked hard on this case. You know they worked hard. You know that they struggled like any other person would. And so it's not a surprise to me that there's going to be a motion attached with it. I mean, we saddled these people with an awesome responsibility, and my thanks go out to them because they sacrificed for all of us.
Steve, how do you move forward from the personal attacks that you endured through all of this? I mean, you were attacked in the courtroom, also on the outside with the ethics complaint. How do you move forward?
Even today.
I place my confidence in God. I'm accountable to God. I'm not accountable to any other person. So I'm going to make my decisions, and I'm going to rest with the decisions I make. Hopefully I make decisions that God is going to deem that are appropriate for what I'm called to do on this planet. So I'm not going to ever worry about what some other person's going to say about me. I know who I am. I know what I stand for, and I'm going to just continue to do the job that I got hired to do in this instance.
Steve, 2 high-profile cases involving police shootings.
3.
Obviously with Bob Bates, but now with Betty Shelby and still with Shannon Kepler left to go. How do you try to bring back a sense of normalcy and also try to reassure people that just with regards to these shootings involving police, how do you try to mend those fences with some folks who believe that those shootings are, that the officers were in the wrong, they should be guilty?
Well, I'd go take a civics class. You need to understand what our system of government is about. Every case stands on its own. I'm not going to mix Bob Bates with Betty Shelby or with Shannon Kepler. Each one of those cases stands on their own. And the law says that if there's a crime committed, it's my duty under the law to prosecute, and I'm going to do that. But I'm not going to mix those cases together. It would be improper. And so Do I think it's unfortunate for some crazy reason that Tulsa seems to be the center of these kind of cases? Yeah, I feel bad for my community on that. But I think my community also needs leadership, and they're also asking people to do what people like me are hired to do, and that's just enforce the rule of law. And in cases that you need a jury to make those determinations, that's why we have a Constitution that guarantees it. So I'm going to continue to just do the job that I've been hired to do.
Aside from being happy that the process worked tonight, I mean, do you think that justice was served?
Sure, sure. I mean, I just look, you know, we had a cross-section of our community. We had African Americans on this jury. We had white people on this jury. We had men, we had women. What more can you ask for than to have a cross-section of the community who gets to listen and see the exact same evidence that I got to see and make a determination? They didn't walk into that jury room and turn and sign a guilt or a not guilty verdict and come walking back out. They came right back after deliberating well over 8 hours. So I know that jury did what we asked them to do. They paid attention to all the evidence. They examined the law. They applied that evidence to the law. That is American jurisprudence at its best.